Hey there, everybody. I'm Ben Mankiewicz. For the past few hours, we've been showing you some rare and underappreciated films. They are all included in the most recent addition to the TCM library, the third edition of Leonard Maltin's Classic Movie Guide, focusing on films from the silent era through 1965. And joining me to introduce these films is Leonard Maltin himself. Leonard, welcome back.
Thank you, Ben.
Good to see you. Up next, a film noir drama shot in Vienna and produced by actor Turin Bay from 1953. It's Stolen Identity. I really like this movie, and classic movie fans will instantly see its similarity to another movie we show here all the time.
Well, it's the same Vienna, the same rain-slick streets of Vienna where Carol Reed shot The Third Man just about 4 years earlier with Joseph Cotten and Orson Welles. And Turin Bay, who produced this movie, knew it well because he was born and raised in Vienna and wound up living there in his later years, too.
And it's also the same setting, sort of. This is post-war, black market-driven Vienna.
Exactly, which is part of the intrigue of the film. You know, I don't think this is necessarily a great movie. I would say that about a lot of the films we're screening tonight that we've put into the new edition of the Classic Guide. I don't ask for greatness every time out. I ask for something that pulls me in, that intrigues me, that interests me.
Worthwhile, yeah. So many things to like here. I mean, it's really well paced. I thought the motivations for the characters were entirely human, and they're made quickly, and it's not confusing at all. And of course, the setting really works.
The setting is terrific, and you know, it was only after World War II that American filmmakers started working overseas. The three key people involved with this movie had all been in Hollywood. There were Europeans who went to Hollywood. Turin Bay in the 1940s as an actor. The director Gunther von Fritsch, who worked at MGM making short subjects and co-directed Curse of the Cat People. And the leading man, Francis Lederer, who came to America and had a pretty decent career and then wound up again back in Europe for this film. So here were people who were European, transplanted to Hollywood, and then went back to make this movie with a couple of working actors from New York, Donald Buca and Joan Camden, not well known, but very capable actors.
And they explain why these two people these two Americans with American accents, what they're doing sort of trapped in Vienna in the early 50s.
Yeah, exactly.
We talked about this earlier tonight in relation to another one of the films, but there's a lot of business here in this movie that I think if it were shot today would extend this movie to 100 minutes or 2 hours. But it's not necessary here. We see a character begin in action, like disposing of a body. And then that's it. And then it's hours later and we figure, okay, he disposed of the body and nobody saw him. I really like that because it keeps the pace moving here. This is not a long movie either.
Yeah. They knew how to tell stories in a compact, concise way in those days that we seem to have lost. I think a lot of directors and filmmakers today let their egos get the better of them and think that if the film isn't long, it somehow isn't important enough.
Right, because John Ford and Howard Hawks, those guys had no ego.
They didn't want to bore an audience.
No,
they didn't want to overextend their welcome.
No, totally. I totally see your point. I just thought I'd throw that in. All right, Leonard, thanks very much. Let's take a look at it from 1953, starring Donald Buca, Joan Camden, and Francis Lederer. Here's a good one, Stolen Identity.